Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the September 19th, 2023 Pasco Public Facilities District Board meeting. I will now call the meeting to order at 4 p.m. And Debbie, if you'd please do the roll call.
Carolyn Bowdish. Leonard Dietrich.
Yes.
Marie Gillespie.
Here.
Spencer Gillette.
Here.
And Mark Morissette.
Here.
Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Pasco Public Facilities District Board meeting. Agenda packets are available on the City of Pasco's website at www.pasco-wa.gov under the Public Facilities District Board webpage. This meeting is also being televised live on PSC TV channel 191 on Spectrum Cable in Pasco and Richland, and is streamlined on the city's Facebook page, website, YouTube channel, and Microsoft Teams. Lastly, the public may submit their comments and/or questions by contacting the Pasco Public Facilities District Executive Director or the Pasco City Clerk. Debbie?
So in recognition of the visitors and public comments, this item is provided to allow a public the opportunity to bring items to the attention of the Pasco Public Facilities District Board or to express an opinion about an issue. Its purpose is not to be a venue for debate or for posing questions with the expectation of immediate response. Some questions require consideration by the board over time and after a deliberative process with input from a number of different resources or sources. Some questions are best directed to staff members who have access to specific information. Public comments are normally limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Those with lengthy messages are invited to summarize their comments and or submit written information for consideration by the PFD board outside of formal meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. So at this time, is there anybody present or online who would like to address the board? Do we have anybody?
Anybody online, nor have I received any request from anybody prior to the meeting.
Okay.
But I don't know if anybody is in the audience, though.
This is your big moment. Do you want to address the board?
Sure.
Okay. Make sure it's
There. Brandon Potts, Vice President for Boughton Construction Company. Been following this project since voted to approve the bond about a year ago almost now, I guess it would be. Just think that you invited the audience just to express their opinion. We submitted a pre-qualification proposal for the project and think we'd be a great fit. So thank you for the opportunity and your attention in reading the pre-qualifications.
What was the name of your company again?
Boughton Construction Company.
Thank you. So at this time, if the board will allow, then regarding the financial report, because Darcy may need to leave early for another important meeting, with everybody's okay, can we move the financial report, which is agenda item number 5, up to our next order of business?
It's fine.
Everybody's good? Okay, Darcy, it's all yours. Thank you.
Let me scoot this forward a little bit. Thank you very much for being flexible. The city is issuing debt today, and I need to be back at my office to do some final paperwork before 5. So I appreciate your flexibility. So we have in the packet the information that we've kind of historically been reviewing each month. First, there is an expense ledger detail listing that just outlines the payments that were made this month, and it includes, of course, who was paid, a description of the cause or the need for the payment, and then the amount. And then the next item in the packet is that cash flow budget analysis, which shows the type of revenue or expense category being reflected each month, both the actual and then budgetary expectation through the end of this year, so that you can see the detail of what has happened and also see what we expect and the results of those activities or that expectation on the ending fund balance or available cash for PFD expenses and planning purposes. And the one thing of note that we've been paying attention to throughout the months is that new regional or new sales tax revenue that was voter approved. And you can see that in August it did jump up some from the prior months. So Monica has included in the packet an analysis of the different category of sales that have occurred in the month and what is the basis for that revenue that we've received. And if I remember correctly, it was primarily, I mean, it's spread across many categories, but the bigger categories are construction and retail sales. And so we'll continue reporting that so you can kind of see the impact of activity throughout the community and the revenue that comes into the PFD. And then finally, we have included in the packet just the budget performance report, which is the same sort of information that's on this monthly cash flow budget analysis. It's just in the form that comes out of our accounting software, and it shows you what the current budget is, the amended budget, and then transactions that have occurred in year to date. So just all there for your review and opportunity to ask any questions, and we're happy to help provide information. And that's it. The other thing, oh, go ahead.
Any questions, comments for Darcy? Okay, Darcy, very good, thank you.
Thank you. Is it okay if I touch on this little memo real quick?
Yes, please,
Okay.
please.
The other thing that we've provided today is a memo that's meant to be helpful concerning the capital project and debt financing and kind of the steps and procedure that happens from, the beginning, inception of the planning of the capital project, getting a financing team together, important terms or steps that would be valuable to know as we move through the process. It's definitely just for reference, and this was much more complex just because we had multiple offers or issues and multiple projects, but the city just completed or is today completing a few bond issuances that are related to various projects, but we started in about February and it is getting completed today. And we went, as many meetings and kind of working together with the finance team and making plans and discussing items. And so I didn't want to overload you with information at all, but wanted to give a little bit of information and kind of what to I don't know if expect is the right word, but issues or terms and discussions that you might hear later. And so there's this memo that's got about a page and a half for you to review, and then we can discuss more at the next meeting if you have questions and comments or need a little more information. And so hopefully you find it helpful.
Good.
Thank you.
We'll study this and talk next time.
Okay, good, thanks.
Anybody any quick questions or comments for Darcy, or we'll move on to the next agenda item?
Well, good information.
Yes. Okay, agenda item now, we're back on to item 3A, which is approval of the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
So it has been moved and seconded to approve the August 15th, 2023 board meeting minutes. Is any discussion? Hearing no discussion, then we'll go ahead and vote on the motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. So the motion carries. Claims approval. Do you want to go over that quickly before you go there, Darcy, or?
Certainly. Let's see, I don't have it up there on the screen for you to see, but I think I can. Thank you very much, Mr. Watkins. Let's see. I apologize. Too many pieces of paper. Just wanted to give you the total, and I don't remember exactly what it was.
Do you want me to go ahead, or you got it?
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, good.
The total is $196,552. And most of that is the PFD tax being remitted to Kennewick, and then also just regular services, including our administrative services and the agreement with Wanaha being paid this month for activity they've undertaken.
The only thing I would add to that, board members, the expense ledger detail listing is where those numbers are coming from, if you need any information beyond that. So then, entertain a motion then to approve the August 2023 expenses in the amount of $196,552.72. So moved. Is there a second? Somebody?
Second.
All right, we're working through this, Darcy. It has been moved and seconded to approve the August 2023 expenses in the amount of $196,552.72. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor of paying those expenses, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. So then, I guess at that point, Darcy, if you need to go, thank you very much.
Just got my email, so thank you very much.
Great,
I'll go
thank
and
you.
take care of it.
Item number 6, reports from committees. So the item number 6A, the Design and Construction Committee. Maria, is there anything you'd like to report?
Well, I'm very pleased to report that we received 7 statement of qualifications from potential bidders. And so the Design and Construction Committee is very, very busy evaluating all of those and coming up with a short list that we'll go forward with. That's about it to report.
Okay.
A question in regards to that, how are we doing with the outreach for adding 2 committee members for this process?
We haven't really made any progress on that, but I don't know that it's necessary right now. We did have a community planning outreach meeting just last week to talk about how we would solicit community input. I don't know if that's really covered in your question.
Yeah, my question is more in regards to having another 2 or 3 people on the subcommittee that is a part of this process. And if they're a part of the process, then they will understand more of the deliberation that's going on with the design and construction side of it.
Perhaps I can help out with that just a bit. That particular meeting, in fact, we had with another gentleman from Winaha last week to talk about the public outreach portion and validation of the amenities and all of that. It was call it a kickoff for that. It was more of a brainstorming session, and the subject generally of assistance to the PFD via public members came up again, and I think in a slightly different way. Was kind of the opinion or the thought is, should there maybe be some community members that are subject matter experts in this process, or advocates, I think was one of the terms thrown around. So I included it in a weekly report. I think we're kicking that around, and to me it seemed to cross over some of the discussion that we had as a previous board. So I think that this effort will manifest an actual thing that I think you're talking about, Mr. Dietrich. The exact form of it was still not summarized, but I think it's coming here in the next month or two.
My concern is that if we don't have a list of names as of yet, that will take a period of time. Take a period of time to contact each of those individuals to see if they're interested in applying for. And so get into my 60-day spiel.
Well, I would actually suggest that we did, when we had last discussion, there were two or three people's names on that I had reached out, and I think that they would fit with this category as well. And one example, I think, very obviously is Paul Whitemarsh as an example, and I can't remember the other name of the person. And there's also, I think, maybe somebody in the Spanish speaking community too that I want to check with that I haven't talked with yet. But I am working on that, and I don't think that's going to be have to wait 60 days. I think that's going to come clearer here in the next month or two, being able to do it. Okay.
That's fine. That's your decision on there. I just cautious the fact that it takes a while to bring them on board, just to get them to the very first meeting.
So I would encourage to continue working on that effort, some sort of an advisory group. I think when we have these committee meetings, there's community meetings coming up soon, then it would be helpful to have those people in place to attend those meetings.
And I also am recalling when we did talk about it before, that it would have been helpful to have a paragraph or two summary of what the role of that particular group would be, and would also request board support on that. Perhaps you, Mr. Chair, or you, Madam Vice Chair, to help me with that, of what you would say, or Mr. Dietrich as well. Just a simple paragraph or two. I'll send it out an email reminding on that, and look for your input on what the overall goal should be for that group here next week, if that's okay.
Sure, that would be great, because this topic keeps coming back up, which tells me it's probably time we should.
And it is approaching time, and I think Winaha is reminding us too that the marketing part of this, we're going to be changing. It's going to be a bit of a gear change, and it is time.
All right, very good. And that's it, Marie? Okay, thank you. The Audit and Finance Committee, we didn't meet, but we're looking forward to someday meeting, huh, Caroline?
Right.
There you go. Item number 7, old business. Is there any old business we need to discuss, Matt? New business. Let me just, under old business, one quick item then. Eric, when we have these community meetings, and we've had them before where the entire board could be present. And how will that work? Do we have to have a formal meeting, or just, please, go ahead.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it happens a lot. It's pretty common. We just notice it as a special meeting because you do want to be careful in case there is some kind of business conducted with a quorum. So you just want to notice it as a special meeting, and then all the participants can be there. But in terms of actually any kind of calling to order or taking roll or any of those types of things, so that's not necessary. You'd want to make it a special meeting because you're clearly going to be all there and you're going to be discussing business of the board. So we would just notice it, and then I think Debbie, the one that is ringing a bell is the retreat. Do you remember how we did that? Did we call it to order or?
No, you don't, I mean, we'll mark the time.
Right. Yeah, basically we just mark the time in the minutes and go from there. But yeah, it's not a formal process like that.
So we don't really have to have an agenda?
No.
Well,
just it has to be
we do need
a
an
notice?
agenda.
Oh.
Because when it's a special meeting, you can only conduct business whatever is on that agenda. You can't add to it. So whatever, if it's a retreat to discuss goals, that's what you would write in the.
Right, there we go. Yeah.
So you do have to have an agenda.
Agenda, it'll be something then I'm supposed to lead this community meeting, or who's going to lead this?
Once again, I think if it's a community outreach meeting, it's not an agenda of the board. If there's a quorum of board members there, as long as they don't undertake decisions and discussion as an entity, I think you can just take in information from that community meeting. So I would make a distinction between a special meeting or a retreat as being different than a community outreach session, listening session.
So then the preparation for this will just be Heath, you and Matt are going to get this thing organized and go with it.
Well, technically, we would still need to notice it as a special meeting because you're all going to be
Right,
there, and we
yes.
would need an agenda because the OPMA now requires that as well. But I believe Mr. Watkins is absolutely right. It's not going to be a formal meeting like you're holding today or anything like that.
Okay, very good. Agenda item number 8A, Resolution 2023-11, and Underwriter Services Request for Qualification for Issuance of Securities. Matt, would you kind of give some
Absolutely.
introduction and background there?
Well, and good background too, because this is going to potentially bridge the Audit and Finance Committee, a committee we've not activated before. And I think the result of A and B below are potentially going to be involving that committee. So this is timely. First resolution tonight, the 2023-11, is for underwriter services. This is a case of where entering that phase to where we need to go get bonding, and we need some special skills called underwriter services. This is a segment that is fairly specialized. There's not a lot of respondents in that area. I have had one person reach out who's expressed interest. I'd imagine they'll respond to it. I'm not sure if others in the industry as well, but of course we do competitive process for everything. This is not nearly the scale of, say, for example, a designer builder. I'm requesting that you authorize me to engage in this process. I'll post notice in the paper, give it 2 weeks and a day for people to respond. If there are more than one applicant, then we would go through an evaluation process. I would ask that the Audit and Finance Committee, Ms. Bowdish, Ms. Morissette, and myself be involved in that. If it's a case of where there's just one respondent, I'd probably send an email and share the proposal and ask for the committee's concurrence. And if then that's acceptable, then enter into a arrangement to secure those services. This particular one, in fact, I think you'll get a chance to meet the folks who are going to the conference next week. There's a pretty good chance that one of the respondents will be at that meeting next week. And also note too that this is very involved with the finance department. So Darcy and Monica's department, I'd ask for their assistance too if we get more than one proposal to evaluate. And they've also actually made a suggestion that it be one particular person. But again, competitive process, so we want to give everybody a chance that might be interested in that. So if you choose to adopt this resolution tonight, it'd kick a ball rolling, and I should be able to have a underwriter services specialist in the middle October timeframe.
Any questions or comments for Matt? If not, would somebody please be willing to read the motion for this resolution 2023-11?
I move the approval of resolution number 2023-11, approving the posting of the underwriter services for the issuance of securities. Request for qualifications on September 22nd, 2023. Selection, negotiation, and further authorize the PPFD Executive Director to execute the contract.
Is there a second? Somebody willing to second the motion?
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to the motion regarding the underwriter services. Is there any further discussion or any discussion regarding this resolution?
I would just add one note that this particular position is not one that pays immediately. Their arrangement would be one that when it comes time to actually do the bond, they end up doing a percentage as a return on it. So it's not a fee basis, but it's related to the bond. You will see what that amount is at a later date when it comes up. There will be another decision point by the board when it comes time to actually do a bond.
Thank you, Matt. All right, we'll go ahead and vote on the motion then. So all those in favor of resolution 2023-11, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And if you're opposed, please say no. The motion carries. Matt, do you want to go ahead and move on to 2023-12 for us?
Similar deal, but this is for a specialized attorney services, bond counsel specifically. So this is a fairly specialized venue. Also got a suggestion for possible attorneys from financial services folks. This would be a case if you approved it and negotiated with them that this is going to be tend to be a hourly basis attorney, and I don't know the amount yet, but it was going to be substantial. But of course, we're talking about doing a $40 million bond, so this is important enough to have specialized attorney. I've also talked with Mr. Ferguson about this a bit, and this is one of those things we've talked about where to that point we need we need more than just our general attorney, and in this case will help us with our bonding process.
Eric, anything you want to add to that, or are you good?
No, just that, yeah, it's a very specialized area of law, and it's one that comes with an enormous amount of risk, as you can imagine, the amount of zeros that are associated with that kind of work. So that's what they do, and you definitely would want to have a professional who's highly experienced in that area. So yeah, it's money well spent.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion regarding this resolution? Hearing none, then we'll go ahead and vote on resolution 2023-12. All those in favor? I thought it already had been moved and seconded. No? It has not? All right, then go ahead, Spence. I thought you read the motion. Okay, then go. All right, let's do it then.
I move to approve resolution number 2023-12, approving the posting of the special counsel request for qualifications commencing on September 22nd, 2023. Selection, negotiation, and further authorize the PPFD Executive Director to execute the contract.
All righty, thank you, Spence. Is there a second?
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 2023-12. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then we'll go ahead and vote on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. So the motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Next item on the agenda, other business, Executive Director report. Matt.
Thank you once again. First off, next week we have a conference, state conference of PFDs in Kennewick. Talked with Corey and said turnout is going to be better than it was in the previous year. I think it's pretty clear we've emerged from COVID, so I would expect having this state conference in our own backyard with our peers across the river to be a good event. I've signed up the various board members that have requested to participate. I also know that we've got Monica and a staff member or two that are going as well. So we're looking forward to that. If you show up to that session, you're going to find a combination of board members from different PFDs around the state, staff members, and then also call it industry specialists, including a lobbyist for the organization. And I would imagine PFD members who have may have gone to one in the past. It's just going to be a newer version of it, and it'll be nice to talk with our peer agencies in the state and the information exchange over bread and drink, and then seminars for a 2-day period. So I'm looking forward to that next week. I also questions? Yes, Mr.
Can we find the schedule on their website?
Yes, and I thought I had sent out an email as the schedule, but I will make sure a copy of the schedule will go out to
I think I saw one earlier, but
yeah, let me check to see if there's an update, and I'll send that out to
Thank
members and PFD addresses this week. The second part, I wanted to report Fiery Foods Festival. City of Pasco had a great presence down there, and also was running Fiery Foods Festival this year, including Jesse did a phenomenal job along with other staff members in Pasco. And I asked if I might be able to go down and put up an easel and put the idea of the civic campus concept with a little draft picture of that we're working on for how we might locate together as Ben Franklin Transit, community center, and other amenities. So kind of our first public peek of where we might locate out on the Broadmoor site. And it grabbed the attention of a large number of young families. I probably approximately talked with about 40 people, not including kids that were coming and going. But what I found is that people love the idea of having an aquatics facility located at other similar facilities, especially transit. I didn't even have to say the word transit, and they asked about that. There were also some questions too about traffic about the Road 100 area, which I conveniently foisted off on that City of Pasco is working on that, but also did let them know that the city is going to be working on that. There, there was also there were some people that knew about it, remembered they'd voted on it, and there was also a number of people that went, "Oh, that's really happening. When's that going to happen?" And I said middle to late part of 2025, and I think they were excited and interested, and are going to be keeping an eye on what's going on. So it was a good session to go spend a few hours on a Saturday, and I thought that was a good public outreach session to start talking about the idea of a civic campus. And any questions or and expect more of that to come up, especially as we enter that phase for public outreach here, and when we also choose our designer builder.
Would it be possible for the board eventually to see that conceptual drawing of the campus?
Yes, and we're going to be having a draft here very soon that I pushed just a little bit as a very, very, very rough early draft. I think we're going to be close to having a better draft to share in the very near future with the public and the board before that.
Very good. If there are no other questions or comments for Matt, then we'll move on to Heath Gardner of Winaha and our owner's representative report.
Okay, can you hear me good?
Yep.
All right, well, thank you for having me, and thanks for the cushy seat and the fancy nameplate. I feel super good today. The big news for the project is the RFQ process, which has already been covered some. It's going very well so far. As mentioned before, we received 7 proposals, which is fantastic. That represents a really high interest in this project. To get 7 proposals, and they're all from very qualified and upstanding firms, and so it's very exciting. There's not a bad choice to be made, I don't think there, and so it's exciting. It'll be exciting to see. Just a reminder of that process, and I'll try to keep my words short because some of us have a lot of proposals to read. But that process will be the selection committee will be meeting after reading and reviewing the proposals, and the first step will be to shortlist from those 7 proposals and trim that down through a scoring and criteria process to 2 to 4 is kind of the goal, is to get it somewhere between 2 and 4 finalists. And then those finalists will be issued an RFP, which will be, so RFQ is request for qualifications. The finalists get the RFP, which is a request for proposals, and that will have more technical details, and there'll be pricing components that will be entered into the equation during the RFP process. And also part of that RFP process will be proprietary meetings, they call them, which is it's like an interview, but it's not an interview. It's an interactive meeting where we get to learn how the applicants and proposers work together and how they propose to work with us. So looking forward to those. That'll be part of the scoring as well. And just a reminder, this process will wrap up in late November is the plan. So it takes some time to go through all of this process. And some of the dates that are in there may slide around a little bit. For one thing, we got a few more proposals than we anticipated, so it's taken some time to grind through those. We may need extra time to make sure we give due diligence on that. So some dates might get altered a little bit along the way, but ultimately at the end of November, we expect to have a recommendation from the selection committee for you all to approve for an award to a design builder. So very exciting, very exciting. And then I did also just want to touch the other thing that has come up lately that's already been mentioned as well, is we did have kind of a kickoff meeting and discussion about community outreach effort, trying to get prepared for that. As a group with the Design and Construction Committee and representatives from Winnaha and Matt, we settled on kind of a four-pronged approach to a community outreach. So I just thought I would let you know that we settled on that sort of a four-pronged approach. We're the idea is that we'll be putting together some sort of presence in at community events, similar to the Fiery Foods Festival, but designed to collect input from community members that may be at these events. We've earmarked a few of those events. If you know of a community event that you think would be a good one to be at with that roadshow, if you will, please let us know. Let Matt or I know so that we can put it on the list for consideration. And then we talked about hosting some listening sessions, which was mentioned earlier. Those are kind of a more traditional way to get community input by a public entity. And then also the other two prongs are some sort of surveys. We're going to figure out what the best method is for that. And then social media also. We talked about the need to create a social media presence and start using that for promotion and for collection of input. Just to kind of give you some more input on that, just because I want to get you thinking in case you've got any ideas that you want to reach out and give to any of us. I think the primary data we're looking to collect in this process is to gauge the community interest to gauge what amenities the community is most interested in having in this facility, and which things we think will actually drive use of the facility and patronage of the facility. And then in addition to just the hard amenities, because we talk about those and it's like, a slide or a surfing machine or whatever, those are like physical things. We also talked about using these touch points to also gauge interest in offerings and activities that could be offered at, and put on at the facility, so that that'll feed the facility as they plan and in the future put together programs that they can have that information from the community outreach. So there's kind of the two data points we're going to collect, and then the other goals of the outreaches are more around just education and creating an awareness and creating an excitement and interest in the facility, and making sure that the community is educated as to what the facility is and what it isn't, and what the two-phased approach and how that's going to work and everything else. So those are the things we discussed. We brainstormed various things, all the way down to food trucks. So it was a really good session. I think we got some good bones to start with, and we're going to be putting some things together to bring to the table to go out in the community with. I think it was good mentioned earlier. One thing we also touched on was just whether we wanted to have some kind of advisory committee or something. We've seen that on other projects that we represent, and sometimes it can be a really good process, especially in my opinion. One of the big benefits of that is transparency. It really improves the transparency sometimes to have an advisory committee that is allowed to look in and receive reports and see what we're doing, and be able to tell folks in the community that we're doing it right, hopefully, and that they've reviewed things and approve of the things being done. So that's, in my opinion, that's one of the good things about having that advisory group. So I'd support that. I think that pretty much covers what I wanted to report on. If anybody has any questions.
The meeting Friday is at your office?
Yes,
What's the address?
100 North Moraine.
Okay.
It's right by the Bank of America on Kennewick Avenue there.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Gillette, I'll be following up with you too to make 100% sure you're able to get into the email account too. So there's a couple things there we'll chase down after the meeting tonight. And I would just also augment Heath's point too. I think Heath and I think we're all aware, you all are volunteers, and particularly Ms. Gillespie and Mr. Gillette, you're having to do a lot of homework with this week. And this is a very important one. We very much appreciate your willingness to do this committee work. Being able to talk about the plethora of respondents we've had on Friday is going to be very helpful. I'm hopeful though too, as we do that process, that this is a bit of a surge, and really appreciate you rolling with the punches on this one.
Happy to do it. Just be a little light on sleep this week. It's no big deal.
We'll provide caffeine at the meeting.
Heath, thank you very much. Appreciate the detailed report. Thank you. Okay, now down to item letter C there. Our next board meeting will be Tuesday, October the 17th, right here. And now we're going to go ahead.
And just a note, there will, talked with Heath, there likely will be, or there may need to be a change for the November meeting date. We haven't set that yet, but expect there be a possibility in November for it to not be the traditional week. We may have to alter that. We'll let you know before that meeting though. And also I'm aware too, the winter season is approaching us, and we have some snowbirds in our midst, and so the January to April meetings of 2024, we're thinking about and anticipate those to be planned at their regular times, but we'll want to confirm that before in the next month or two, so that people can do plane tickets if they want to make it back to our wonderful meetings. That might be a good alternative.
I like that idea. Just to be clear, so the meeting shift in November, the reason that we think that might be a good idea is because when we wrap the procurement process up and we have a recommended award to make, we really don't want to end up having to wait a month or 3 weeks to make that award and get rolling on those contracts and get going. So the idea is that to try to time so that when we arrive at a recommendation, it's pretty close to a meeting, so that we can get that rolling. Just to clarify.
Very good. So then we'll move to agenda item number 10, executive session. And is regarding consideration of site selection or acquisition of real estate purchase or lease if likelihood that disclosure would increase price per RCW 42.30.110, parentheses 1 lowercase b. And we expect this will last 30 minutes.
Just augment that, besides board members that reach a Sigdell Deputy Pasco City Manager, Mr. Eric Ferguson, attorney, and myself would also be in attendance in that portion of the meeting.
All right, very good. So we'll meet in the back. No, the only thing after that would be adjournment.
Right, so you can tell them,
What's that?
Oh,
let everybody know.
oh,
All right.
Mr. Chair, also a request. I don't anticipate any action after that meeting, if it's okay, because we also have people that, so they don't have to linger, since there wouldn't be any activity after the meeting. You would call the meeting back to order and adjourn without any action, and we would just note the time that we finished the meeting.
All right, well said. That's what we'll do. Thank you.